A lot of people who are in info are there for the cash grab. So it's like they try to cram in all of their growth and scale in like 2 or 3 years.
What I found is that volume in the right state of mind, which is typically relaxed, not constantly under tension or stress, leads to so much more.
Many people don't scale their business because they are afraid to take a few steps back and build and then scale again. We talked about that many times, but it's just for new people here. You gotta be able to fucking take a few steps back to take 20 forwards.
It's not about the hours you do something, it's about the level of quality you execute it by. If I give myself 8 hours to do that, I end up realizing that in those 8 hours, 3 of them are spent bullshit worrying about if I'm doing it right or not. I do not know how I could get anyone to experience it, but I wish.
How can you expect a person that has never done something uncomfortable and it worked out for them to be like, do shit in a flow state and just be creative and don't stress?
Good question.
Yo, people, welcome. Bro, my shit froze when it went live, so I thought the whole thing froze.
Did it? Okay, well, we're live. What's up, people?
Hey, yo.
Candid intro.
Leave this in. Welcome, people. This is Surf Don't Sell. This is a podcast between me and Vince, my good friend.
Hello.
And we're kind of running the same ass business here. So it's kind of cool for us to have a space where we can ping pong. And you listening, you can hopefully learn something. So that you don't have to pay us a lot of money to get the insights. You can just tune on this podcast and then get to work.
Well, that's what he's supposed to say, but you can still do that though, by the way. The doors might be open. Fred's not available right now. I'm almost not available, so... No,
Vince, how are you?
I'm doing good. Dude, that's a nice mug.
Do you know it? It's a Danish thing. It's called Royal Copenhagen. My girlfriend is a collector of these things.
Dude, I know what I'm getting you to when I'm visiting you guys, because the Netherlands, I don't know if you know, they have those like the same style mugs and cups and everything. It's like the blue and white meme. So I was like, is that by any chance a Amsterdam reference? But okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's Danish. Royal Copenhagen is what it's called. Yeah, nice. Bro, it's like every average Danish girl collects it. So I just said my girl is basically. But,
that
she will never listen to this thing, so don't worry.
Shout out Ida. No, all good, man. But yeah, I've been good, man. Life's good. I think you already know this, but I'm hosting my first official in-person mastermind tomorrow. It's kind of funny, right? It was the most candid thing on the planet. Because one of my clients is currently in London, and he's been like, dude, we gotta meet up. And then one day he was like, yo, Vince, I'm leaving in like 3 weeks. Are we still doing something? And I was like, hey guys, that was last week. Does anyone want to do an in-person event? And then in a week, I was like, okay, well, fuck it. We could do the 25th or 26th of October. But next week is, I don't know if you know what this is, ADE, Amsterdam Dance Event. It's like a big festival, like the whole city, the whole literal city has hotspots. It's kind of like, I think GTA map where there's always events, but then it's just music and there's DJ. The whole city is a mess. So it's like, okay, well, since Brian's leaving soon, shout out Brian, why not next week? And so we have 7 people flying over to come visit in Amsterdam, and a few more are based in the Netherlands. So it's pretty freaking fun. Yeah, it's a nice stuff.
Yeah, bro. In person is but in person is the best shit ever, and people crave it so much, and it's like it's so good for you and your community.
Lifetime value, overall perception of your brand, and you get cool media out of it, which I finally get to look good, guys. I'm not only going to be stuck in this room for all my content, but it's cool.
Yeah, and it's just a good experience, you know. Like I think you also like to talk and speak with your clients, like I do. So it's just very cool to meet in person and then also talk about shit that isn't business, you know?
Yeah, and it's kind of like, it's the first time I'm doing this. So like experiencing this, it's like zooming out. It's kind of like, it's such an honor. Like 7 people are flying over and you're just there like, hey guys, next week. Like I was even talking to one of my other clients who hosts a lot of in-person events too. And she's like, how did you manage to do that in a week? I'm like, I don't know. I just said it. So that was awesome. And it gave me good excuse to do some shopping. So guys, in the future videos... certified unk energy here. It's actually really happening. But other than that, doing good, man. The same old moves as always.
That's good. How
about you?
Yeah, I'm good. Just chilling, getting settled, working.
Nice. How's it like getting back into the flow of things? Because I feel like you had a big shift recently.
Yeah, we're like moving place and moving country and setting up new company and getting a dog. I think you should do that in a year, not in 3 weeks. But it's been good. Like my body is kind of like finally settling to the fact that I'm in Denmark and I don't have a return ticket to Dubai, and I can like actually be home and I don't have to say goodbye to people the first time that I meet them because I'm leaving again next week. So it's just very nice, and I'm just like I'm just allowing myself to take things slow in a sense, where it's like I take time setting up my office, I take time with spending time with my dog. I take time to my family, and then like all I do is just manage clients and maintain business, and then like think about my next steps here, because I know product is next for me and building the program out, because it's just a natural step in the evolution of serving people. It's like having a really good ass product, but it's like I'm pretty torn in between product, because I don't want to do the usual product thingy. So I want to brainstorm a little bit and challenge myself to develop something that isn't usual in this space.
Yeah, but then also it's not too far off, so people are like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
To be continued. Yeah, cool,
To
man.
be continued.
How does it feel not to be constantly rushed and stressed about everything?
Yeah, pretty weird. You know, when you've operated from a state of survival and constant deadlines for 3 years, it's kind of like, what the hell is this? And your body is not used to it. But I think it's a natural step, you know. And it's also, I'm just also forcing myself not to
force or rush.
Push for the next thing, you know.
Yeah.
I'm forcing myself to see my revenue and profit drop a little bit, because I have I probably have a list of now 18, 20 people after I did a public speaking gig at a conference here in Denmark, of like wanting to buy. But I know that every time that I sign up a person, it's more hours from my end, and that is hours that could have been spent on product.
Yep.
And the product could have served more people in a more efficient way, instead of me having to tell people what to do, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a luxury, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. That's always a nice pivot. It's also like the pivot where you're realizing like, hey, it doesn't always have to be more, but actually when you take that time, and this is the central theme, I think, for the past few conversations we've had, but it's like that pivot that I'm also seeing and also going through. It's like, hey, it's not necessarily slow down, because this is how I perceive it. You know, dude, I love that cup. I don't know why I love it so much. The print is so nice in the whole monochrome background you got over there. It's just like a nice hint of thank you for showing it to the pod. No. I was saying, where was I? Okay, there we go. Where it's like, the perception from the outside or from your mind might be, hey, I'm slowing down, because maybe you're not constantly chasing or rushing, but your time is spent the same, or your time is still spent. And you're still doing stuff. It's just that those things don't immediately have a return you see in the next few seconds or days or whatever. Yeah. But they do end up coming through a gigantic leap at one point. And that's just the uncomfortable, quote unquote, middle you got to learn how to live through, I think, as a founder, as an entrepreneur, especially if you're scaling up. And I think when you can optimize highs and lows in that perspective, like periods of growth and periods of restructuring and rebuilding. But most of all, I think this is the important part we all forget, is in a way that you actually enjoy your life. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, true. But at the same time, it's also like, because I'm also contemplating with myself, like back and forth, you know, because I'm also 26, for example. I want kids within 2 or 3 years.
You want to go in 2, 3? Bro, I set my timeline for 5, 6.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a little bit of urgency where it's like, I maybe have, let's say at max 3 years before I have kids. So it's like at the same time, while I want to like chill a little bit more and take things slow. And when I say chill, it's just, I don't want to die on 6 hours of calls every day. I want to create.
But that's where product comes in, right? Because why do you need to do 6 hours of delivery every single day to still scale or have a larger business? If you look at a lot of people in space right now who are at the top, if I can frame it that way, I'm not talking the bro skill top. I'm talking about genuine consultants who've been in the space for a while. They don't fuck all in a way, but they still serve very well.
They have crazy product.
Yeah,
and it's simple, right? Because you also, when you ask yourself, like, my next milestone is 150K per month. That's $1 million Danish a month, and I think that's very, very reasonable. And I've scaled a few businesses to it before. So, and I also know exactly how the foundation looks like of operating a business on that level. But there are also ways that I don't want to do it, so I need to do it differently, and I need to build that foundation, right? So it's like it's so fucking delusional to tell yourself that you want to do X, Y, Z numbers, but you have nowhere near the foundation too, right?
I was literally pondering on it this morning, because for the past I ideally around a month, I think you noticed a month and a half ago, would have already have launched the majority of the content that I've been working on. But then I was also thinking to myself, and then let me reframe it, haven't launched it yet, in other words, right? And then I'm like, shit, things aren't going as fast. But I'm like, I know fucking shit, you haven't done those things. But then at the same time, there's where that fun game comes in, which you don't see it until you've gone through it. It's like, how could you have done it well if you hadn't spent the time that you spent now, either pondering on, breaking down your thoughts, reiterating on your product, reiterating on your entire philosophy? You can't. So it's kind of like this unnecessary loop of either forcing yourself while at the same time you have to have the foundations. So that's just the game you play.
It is. And it's how it's supposed to. right? I think many people don't scale their business because they are afraid to take a few steps back and build and then scale again. We talked about that many times, but it's just for new people here. You gotta be able to fucking take a few steps back to take 20 forwards, right?
Yeah.
You can't do everything at once. Vince, I wanted to ask you, what's your daily schedule? Because a lot of people ask me of like, how the fuck do you do it all at once? So how
do you want me to go into this? Because you know me.
You can just do your today, for example. How's your Friday looking?
So now the rules that I've set for myself is, okay, so today is a bit of an outlier simply because I can go over my average day. I think that's maybe more logical to look at. But today's an outlier because tomorrow's the event. I've kind of like kept my schedule as clean as possible because I'm still finalizing a few, I guess you could say, just more, the delivery of the day, because the day is going to be split into 3 parts, and I want to make sure that each part I do have both prepared well, and I want to get as much value to my clients right now. And I don't want to just show up tomorrow and it's an iteration of what we always talk about on our weekly calls. So I want to go more in depth, meaning I have to spend a bit more time on it. But the way I typically schedule my days is I have 2 types of days during my week. And right now it's alternating per week because I have about 30 clients. So it's, and all one-on-one on bi-weeklies typically. So the way that I structure my days is I have call days, like you also do, and then I have deep work days. But I have made a rule for myself, as you want to frame it that way, creator, and then I guess you could say, manager, whatever.
Hustler.
Anyway, hustler. There you go. Yeah, I've come to peace for myself, and this is a really important thing when scheduling my days, because as I started scaling really fast, I kind of had this perception that it's always going to be rushes, right? It's just how it goes. And then once you shift from let me reframe it. July start had around maybe 15, 18 clients. And so my days were relatively open. But because I didn't have the constraint of time as much and energy or the need to spend more time building longer term resources, I could just kind of slot in randomly a 2-hour block to do content or whatever the fuck. But what I'm seeing is I suddenly got a gigantic spike of clients. I can add 15 or 20 so, and then it's like, okay, shit. Now, my days are either fully calls or the whole week's going to be calls at random moments. And what I've personally found is if that is how the day is structured, it is so difficult for me to make leverage. Assume this. Let's say my typical working day starts 8:30 in the morning, because what I like to do is I have a rule for myself. I do this. I am that kind of guy. That's just how I've always been. Structure is very important for me. It allows me to stay in a pretty good state of mind, mentally especially. So
translated, he is acoustic.
Acoustic, yes, music. No, but I do like. Wow, thank you, Fred. Thank you for.
I like structure too, so I'm the same, bro.
Thank you, acoustic chat over here, guys. No, but basically, I always get up around 6:30, 6:45, depends on the time I go to bed earlier. I don't put too much pressure on myself for that, but I do like that because I just create really good associations with environments. So I try to, this is a bit acoustic, I do try to control my environments. Now, I really want to add to this because I don't want this taken out of context. I don't need an environment to be at a good state, but it helps me maintain a really good state of mind, which is very inhibitive for if I need to do deep work or focus. So my days typically start at 6:30. I always do some kind of a morning routine where I typically literally lie down on the floor and just zone my mind out. It helps me a lot to just focus and center myself on, hey, what is the North Star for my business and what's the North Star for today? I always have one main objective I'm doing on a day. And so on my non-call days, between 8:30 up until like 12, I do deep work, priority work. So like usually that's scripting content or working on product. It's either one, depending on what's urgent. Then in the afternoon, I go pretty much block an hour to check in with my clients. So from 12 to 1. And then from 1 to 5, I do more deep work. I either choose a task that is less of a priority, or in this frame, it's less heavy thinking and kind of like a brain dead. I need to just type it out. But all of my deep thinking gets done in the morning, because if I don't do it then, I am absolutely gassed. Like my brain will think with some dumb shit in the middle of the day and just start fucking off. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
It's pretty exhausting. And usually I then go to the gym around 5:30.
What's your split?
Let's push pull upper lower. So I train 5 times a week.
Yep.
I do basically it's a typical compound. I don't actually have a very strict training plan right now. I'm just going off of what I enjoy doing, because that's always helpful, and I'm just maintaining. But I am trying to, I guess you could say, I'm not recomping, but I'm slowly bulking up now. I'm currently like 67, 68 kilo, dude. I'm light as fuck. Yeah.
How tall are you?
171, 173 centimeters. Depends on fucking whatever. So I tried and tried. It's never been consistent. Like my passport says 165. I got pranked. I don't know why they did that.
That's not true. I've met you in real life and you're not 165. That's fucking horrendous.
Bro, how did they do that? Like how? I was literally measuring. The guy said, "Oh, that's 173." I'm like, "Oh, nice. Does hair matter?" It's like, I don't know. My hair was a bit tilted. I don't fucking know. And then I get my passport says 165. I'm like, what?
Oh, that's actually crazy.
Yeah, so I'm trying to hit 70 consistently, but then once I hit 70 kilos, then I'm going to recomp, which is more turn fat into more lean muscle. That's what I'm doing. And after that, usually at night, I make a rule for myself. And guys, this is probably the healthiest thing I've ever done in my life. And I fail it often, right? Because here's what's happening. During my day, I'm heavily focused on work. I'm heavily focused on getting my mind to do things. And if that's the operating mode all day, this does stem from grind mentality. So take it for what it is. But I'm sure a lot of you will relate. I'm working, I go to, after work, I don't take half an hour to chill. I'm just, all right, go to the gym. And then the gym, it's usually... I love metal music, you know that. So I'm typically listening to metal in the gym, which is pretty intense. It gets me to go, grind it out. And then when I come home, I have dinner. But here's the problem. If I don't take 30 to an hour to just do nothing and relax, I'm talking quite literally just sitting on this couch. I swear it's just this shit. It sounds boring and useless, but it's like, do that. If I don't do that, my brain just keeps going and I find a reason to go on YouTube or Netflix or fuck around on my phone, and then it's 10 p.m. and I'm like, fuck, I'm exhausted. So that's how it's really good
that you showed people how to sit on a couch. I think that was really, really good.
The visuals are always relevant, yes, because
yeah, exactly. So like now they know exactly how you sit.
Yes, just like... Just celebrate the wins. Sometimes I journal. I do like to journal a lot more these days. It helps a lot with clearing my mind. That's for my call days. My non-call days. The whole point of my non-call days are
how many non-call days a week?
I try to do 2, but what happens is that because of the schedule of my clients currently and because a lot of them are US based, I have 2, 1 week, it alternates. 1 week where it's Tuesday, Thursday are non-call days. And what ends up happening is that the other week it's Tuesday and Thursday. Thursday is always empty. But on Tuesday, calls then start at 3 p.m. or maybe 2 p.m., meaning I still have a large portion of the day to do the deep work that's relevant. What I try to focus on again, and this is really important, what I end up finding is when I have calls, my brain's in operating mode because I know I have clients to call with. But then when I have non-call days, my brain, if I'm not actually setting this pace well, which is why it takes time in the morning, it becomes, I can take it easy. That's a trap. Don't do that. So that's my non-call days. And on on-call days, I typically have calls starting from 11 until like 5, 6, and then I go gym after. The big thing here is I do take 2 hours in the morning just to still do some deep work. Otherwise, things don't move in the right direction.
That is good.
So it's 3 call days typically. Weekends are an interesting one because one of the big challenges that I've had to face, it's always interesting. One of the big challenges I've had to face.
Weekends are interesting, huh?
Bro, it's kind of like, how do I say this? This is like the extreme mentality, and I think I'm a great example of this, where it's like, before I really started getting more into long-term moves, weekends are so important if you recover well. The thesis that I've learned regarding recovery is it's not about... See, when I used to think recovery, I used to think I can do the things that I don't allow myself to do during the week, which is a bad mentality. Because then you're kind of like restraining yourself from, for example, maybe playing a video game or, going out to do something. But what I've learned from myself is if I'm spending so much energy during the week using my mind, if I don't have that 1 hour at the end of the day to relax, like really just chill my mind, it ends up becoming kind of like a sponge that just gets filled up and it gets really hard. And in the Saturdays and Sundays, if I don't take the time to relax it, that energy maintains. And then the next week, my performance significantly lowers. So the weekends, I really prioritize resting. One of the biggest things that I've learned is please, Vincent, sleep at the same time, even if it's weekend. Because on Friday, my mind's like, hell yeah, it's Saturday. And then you're like, let me go, let me go, let me go check what's on the internet. And then you end up watching, I don't fucking know what you watch, but it's like a random Babas video and you're like, oh shit, this is funny. And then you just keep watching it for an hour and then you're like, fuck, there goes my entire routine. But what I try to do on Saturdays, now I am doing that because I'm in a mini sprint again for product. So I'm spending half my Saturday morning or until 12:01 on either content or product just because I really want to move the needle. And then after, I just really make a promise to myself, relax. I either go to, I know you like saunas. I haven't gone to a sauna in forever, but I typically either get a massage every 2 weeks or that's amazing, dude. I have this, there's this Tibetan massage place. I don't know what, but I have this one dude who absolutely, I don't know how he does it, but that dude just fucks up my back and wait, pause. Because of this.
You fucking laid that shit up.
Pause. Okay, this is. I am married, so pause.
He's not married, by the way.
Almost, very soon. Anyways, perspective here is, after your body just accumulates so much stress, it's really good to relax it or release it in some ways. Oh God, this is all going in the wrong way.
You're just digging the hole a lot deeper.
That's crazy. But anyways, massages are great. Relaxes your body, allows you to...
You're very deep in the hole.
No, stop. It's getting worse. I'm trying to collect my thoughts and have a coherent conversation here.
Yeah, give people how to rest. Come on.
Yeah. That's how I rest. So typically that. I really like going for walks. And now that it's winter, it's absolutely shit in the Netherlands. Well, I don't know, dude. I'm from South America, so I have different perspectives on what's nice or not. But I don't know. I think you really like Denmark.
I like to walk in the like when it's cold.
But you're in the countryside too, right? So you can just go for forests and trees, and you see like nice little foxes or rabbits. I don't know what happens there, dude.
Probably not, but yeah.
Fair enough. Yes. And you have a dog to walk with, bro. Here it's cityscape. Maybe I'm just being a little depressive little monkey over here, but it's like I really enjoy nature as well. But where I'm from, Amsterdam, nature isn't that accessible.
Yeah, but it's true. Like it's not that fun to go for a walk if you're afraid of getting hit by a bus or a bicycle every 2 seconds.
That's not typically the thought, but yes, that is kind of true.
Now it is. I just planted that fear inside your head.
No, but I typically do enjoy going for walks. So I either would go to a park, or what I really, really enjoy doing, and it's going to sound really silly, bro, but I have this, I told you about it. It's called a Shakti mat. It's basically a yoga mat, but with spikes on it. And
can you show it?
Sure, hold up, let me get it. This thing's fucking crazy, dude. Like, this is the pillow, but it's just basically a mat, but it's literally this thing.
Yeah, now I know.
And it really hurts. It's like that spiritual womb stuff. But what I enjoy about it is, and this is really why I do it. Well, needs to be hidden. I haven't taken out the tag yet. I got it yesterday anyways. But where is it? What I like to do is, because my body is always under stress and tension, and after I've accumulated a whole week of work, what I find is that my mind sometimes drifts off and starts fucking around, thinking into random things that are not productive, or maybe negative thoughts, which are just not necessary. So what I like to do is, it's kind of like ego discipline. I like to, not force, but to put myself on that mat and just sit down, literally let my body feel the quote-unquote pain, to train myself to be like, yo, listen, you're listening to me now. It unironically relaxes it. It releases a lot of endorphins, which is basically relaxation hormones for your body. And then I typically let my mind just go to wherever it wants to go. What typically ends up happening is I come up with a crazy conclusion after half an hour of lying down. And if I'm not doing that, I'm either in the gym or I'm just writing or playing a video game. That's what I'm doing typically. When my partner here or my sister's here, we're then going for walks, having conversations, having dinner. Just really low maintenance, simple things. That's what I really enjoy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's typically how I spend my
Pretty
days.
good.
The important thing is here, really, it's what I found, it's a management of energy. That's what it really comes down to. Because if I have a whole week of nonstop grinding, like 7 days, like that week, it might be cool, but there's going to be an inevitable point where two things will happen. Either my mind cannot maintain its clarity because of constantly being under load, and then I'll have misperception or misjudgment in any area of my life, which typically leads to conflict, which isn't necessary. Or second, the exhaustion trickles over, and then the week after, or the week after that, I can't think as straight and as productive, and I naturally end up having thoughts that are like either unhealthy or unnecessary to progress my goals. And this also comes down to long-term versus short-term. In the sprint moments, it's important to just go for it, but I found that it's not healthy for a long period of time. So that's how I try to optimize my days.
It's good. Is there anything you do? Is there anything you're planning to change?
Good question. I think two things is what I want to implement more of. First of all, it's more time off. But I have to change how I do that. So one of the mistakes that I made is, again, like I talked about in grind mode, what I had when I was scaling up from 0 to 10, 10 to 40, 40 to 100, is this idea that restraint. Like I'm restraining myself from the things I like, maybe playing a video game or watching YouTube videos or whatever. What that restraint in behavior led to, what I observed in myself, is this constant feeling of guilt when I do it, even in the weekends. But then when you do indulge, you end up overindulging. And relaxation then is a portal to doing the things you don't allow yourself to do. So one of the things I want to change psychologically is reframing what relaxation really means. And relaxation really just means centering my mind with myself. I think one of the ways to frame it is reconnect with God. That's also a really good way to frame it, which is just detach yourself from the money, from the goals, from the numbers in your business. I think I said this to you last week. I don't know if we said it in the pod, but it's like, if I did a hypothesis or a thought experiment, if I can remove every single number from my business, if I could remove every single parameter or condition that needs to be met in my business, if I can't see it, I'm at peace, in other words, and I just do what I gotta do. I'm almost 100% certain it'll be at God level, meaning it's going to be that good, because I'm not constantly impulsed by these ups and downs or these numbers that mean nothing at the end of the day. And I can just focus on the one thing that truly matters and the moment I'm doing it. So that's one thing I want to change, which is just my own psychological associations with relaxation and work. And then the second thing I want to do is really quite literally do more of the couch sitting. It's so productive. It's the best thing ever. But what I end up doing at night when I come back from the gym, I just end up taking my phone, and then before you realize it,
of course,
an hour has passed. Just doing less. Just doing literally less so that I have the space and reception to give more to my clients, which is really important. And also just to come up with really cool ideas, which since I've been practicing it, it's happening. It doesn't sound sexy, guys. It's not that I'm going to grind more, but here's the thesis though, Fred. Here's the thesis. Let's do a math sum. You've seen the consciousness chart, right? The consciousness chart from like different frequencies. I had a thought about it. When I'm baseline at peace, quote unquote, usually you're at a really aware state of level. All the whole frequency shit is, guys, all the whole consciousness shit, it's just about your awareness around things, with things around you. And my thesis is, if your awareness is very high, meaning you're relaxed, your mind is receptive to everything. Your mind can see that maybe a client leaving or not instantly getting a win isn't a bad thing. Your mind sees it as what it is, and you can focus on the big goal. But as your body and your mind get more stressed, you get more impulsed, your frequency, or in this case, your awareness drops because you're constantly focused on lower things, materialistic things, if I can frame it. And by that sum, let's just do a math sum here, Fred. If assuming the most open gate of your mind would be determined by a number 1,000, that's the determined power of your activity in that state of mind. If I do 3 hours of 1,000, that's basically a production of 3,000, right? Hypothetically. Now let's assume I've been forcing and grinding, and now my mind, because it's been so focused on all these different things and it's constantly tugged around, it can't focus as much, and the level is now 200, aka lower frequency. I have to compensate 5 times as much in time and action and reality to make up for that dip. And this is where people end up going into grind mentality. This is my thesis of it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How can people implement that shit?
The recognition that doing more, the volume is relevant. It's very relevant. Volume helps you literally, for example, in outreaches or in content, for example, is relevant. But what I found is that volume in the right state of mind, which is typically relaxed, not constantly under tension or stress, leads to so much more. So instead of, for example, grinding for 8 hours or 12 hours, how about you work for 8, and the other 4, instead of stressing about what needs to happen in those 8, you relax your mind and you know that in those 8 hours, you're absolutely going to crush it. What I found in that mentality, I get so much more done.
How do you transition from the 8 hours of grind to the 4 hours of relaxation? What can people do to forget about deadlines or a client that hasn't responded or the proposal they need to send in the morning? Or
well, typically what I find is and this is a great question. Like, let's do the sum of you want to transition from, let's keep it a bit more, I guess, relatable. And because 10, 12 is pretty much a bit of an extreme, I'd like to say. Not everyone can maintain that, but I think 8 is a great example. Yeah. I want to argue, and I never understood this, you can get the same done in 8 hours that you could get done in 5. Oh, no, wait, you can get the same done in 5 that you could get done in 8. But the question is, what the fuck are you talking about? What does that mean? There's more time to work, right? Here's what it looks like for me. Let's assume the context now is I need to get a proposal over. I need to prep for content. And for example, I need to write a few scripts or whatever. And I have to prepare for my mastermind. Let's just use this as an example, just for the sake of it. Now, if I give myself 8 hours to do that, sure, I can do it in 8 hours. But most of the time, I know for myself, and this is something you have to just find within yourself, I end up realizing that in those 8 hours, 3 of them are spent bullshit worrying about if I'm doing it right or not. If it's actually going well. Hours are spent, is it going to be good, is it going to be not? What I end up realizing for myself, and this comes over time, but here's how I practice it. If I give myself, I like how you use that example, Fred. If I put a gun to my head right now, this is really extreme, but if I put a gun to my head right now and I said, Vince, you have an hour to make a really good content piece, I could get it done. But this will be moving from a place of fear and like worry, right? But I realized I don't need a fucking gun to my head to do really good work. No. Like tomorrow is the mastermind. I still have a lot to prep. I can go worrying right now about all the shit I have to do. Then this podcast we're doing, I'll be in a shitty state of mind and worried about it. That's how it looks like. Or I know it doesn't matter what I do tomorrow. It's gonna be fucking fire anyways. Relaxed. So when I'm doing this podcast with you, the hour that I'm spending here, it's relaxed in a great state of mind. I come up with good ideas. And then the hour I spend after that on, for example, prepping for the mastermind tomorrow, it's effective. The point is how you transition is, and it's going to sound so counterintuitive, guys, but I had to learn it the hard way, and I think you have experienced this too, Fred, is I end up realizing it's not about the hours you do something, it's about the level of quality you execute it by. I have found that I can script a really good video in 5 minutes if my mind's in the right place. Versus if my mind is giga distracted, I'm checking 3-4 notifications at once, my phone's open, my dog's bark, I don't have a dog, whatever, right? Then it takes me 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, I was productive today. So a few tips here to make it more practical. One, whatever activity you do, put your whole focus into it. And be present when you do it, meaning just focus on that task because you find you can lower your time drastically. 2, let's say you have tasks, split it into blocks. For example, morning deep work scripting, take 2 hours for it or an hour for it, whatever, and then take half an hour transition time to relax your mind. You'll find that in that half hour, not only will you be more relaxed, in the next activity you do, you'll get more clear into, and you'll actually be able to execute it way better and way faster. An example here would be outreaches. Outreaches are all volume, right? For example, but I can swear to you that if I gave someone 2 hours and I said, you have to hurry up, this outreach, fuck, what do I say? Shit, is it good enough? Is it good enough? Those are the problems with putting in more hours and more time. Grinding. Versus if you give that same person 2 hours and you're like, hey, relax. Whatever you do here is going to sign a client, for example. They're just relaxed, they're doing it, they'll get more done, it'll be higher quality. I do hope that makes sense.
I think it does.
It's an experience thing. It's an experience thing.
And it makes sense to you because you've proven to yourself.
And I've been through it.
Right, yeah. Like you prove to yourself that if you put your head down and you focus and you enjoy the work, then you get better work done in less time, which is the ultimate goal at the end of the day. So it's mainly about how people can get a successful experience with like doing it in that flow rather than grind and hustle. I would still say if you're below 10K a month, you should work your ass off because that's just how you're going to get there. But everything above that, you need to transition into a little bit more of a flow state that Vince is mentioning here.
The point is that what I just came to the conclusion of is that I can spend 10 hours with my mind worried about shit, or the exact same 10 hours, which will pass anyways, whether I take a shit during it or if I go mountain climbing. It's going to pass.
Probably.
Assuming that I don't randomly pass out, sure. It's going to pass anyways. Yeah. But I've just found it to be so much more productive when you realize that, and this is the thing, bro, Fred, like, just think about it. A year ago when I did the interview with you, when I had my first 10K, you know how stressed I was in that period. Like, and this is the perspective game we're talking about, that yes, I can say it now, but I swear to God, I wish there was a way for me to experience it then. I wish. I do not know how I could get anyone to experience it, but I wish. Because back then I was so stressed about would it work out or not, and then a year later I'm sitting here saying, hey, it worked out. But then the next goal I'm talking about is like, will it work out or not? And that's where I realized, wait, it will. Of course it will. It's me. Just like it was.
Yeah, because it worked out.
Yeah.
Right, you're just proving to yourself that.
But the thesis is, you need to see proof to know it will work out. I don't agree with that. You need to. I think that's where the mind shift came from me. I know it will work out, and now I'll just carry out the objective. But that is always that's an interesting thesis and an interesting conversation, because how do you show someone who's never done it that it'll work out? right? How do you build confidence? This is a complete sidetracking, but this is the best take I can give on it, because I can tell you...
But it makes sense, right? It's like, how can you expect the person that has never done something uncomfortable and it worked out for them to be like, do shit in a flow state and just be creative and don't stress? I think it's just stacking wins, so that every time you do something uncomfortable, you realize you survive it and it actually went pretty well. And it could be just something as DMing a stranger, right? And they answered, and then jumping on a call with them. Oh, it went well. Oh, sending a proposal. Oh, they signed. It's just stacking those, because everything is just uncertainty when you level up, when you reach new revenue goals, and need to hire or fire or whatever it is, right? Everything's just uncertain. You've never done that before.
I'll use you as an example here. You have obviously already scaled to short form to 200K a month, way more. I think it was above that. So you know it's possible, but like you just said, you're going to have to completely do it in a different way. By laws of how logic would work, you have no proof. Therefore, I got to grind my way up there, right? Well, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And you could extrapolate this as, oh yeah, but Fred has so much knowledge that relatively he probably already knows. But I know you are still figuring it out, as am I. And you can look at the market and see it, but you haven't factually experienced it. By that definition, that would mean you don't have proof. But here's the thing that I found about proof. Instead of focusing so much on the one area in which you're trying to accomplish a goal, which is my business, there are so many areas in your life that you're not paying attention to where you did win. Like, hell, bro, like, here's the example of it. Let's use the guitar as an example. This is not going to produce music. This is a 7-string metal guitar. I got it because I wanted to play a song and I haven't played it in a while. But this is 7 strings. I played 6. By that definition, this is different. Now, how did I get really good at playing music fast? But here's the irony of it. Because in my mind, I'm good at it. When I play this thing 1,000 times, I don't go, fuck that sounds shit. I'm like, yeah, and then it just keeps blasting. And before you realize it, I just move my fingers around, start listening, and I'm like, oh shit, this works. And the thesis is, if I were to have the thought, I don't know if I'm going to get good at this, the whole way this will translate into my action is I'll start playing the instrument, and then before I realize it, I'm like, no, that doesn't sound good. I don't think I'm that good. Maybe I should stop and watch a YouTube video. When in reality, YouTube video is going to tell you to do the same fucking thing, and you're just like, okay, maybe I should just start moving my hands, and you realize, oh shit, this is easy. But that's the volume game, right? I could do the same volume of just doing 1,000 plucks or whatever you call this, swipes or strums. But in my mind, if I don't really see myself capable of playing it, all the 1,000 will go to the same fucking string, meaning I've not progressed here, because I'm still trying to convince myself as if this string sounds good or not, which is bullshit. Because the thesis of it is, if I focus my mind on realizing, wait, this is fun. This is actually pretty easy. In those same 1,000 strums, I would have probably already learned a song. And that's how I progress through life. The thing is, if I look at my business only for my silo of business, I've never experienced it. Fuck, it's the end of the world. But maybe you were good at sports. Maybe you were really good at writing a letter, or fucking, I don't know what you're good at. Maybe it's cooking. If you can see that win happens there, this is a toaster example. I always use a toaster example with my friends. It's like, okay, great, I'm trying to build a business at 200K a month. What the fuck? But hey, if I tell my mind I want to make a sandwich and I stress about how to make a sandwich, it's already fucked. But what is a sandwich? A sandwich is simply 2 slices of bread. Maybe, I don't know what you use, mayo, fucking chicken, I don't care. Put together. Either you put it on the iron if you want it if you want to toast it, or you put it in a toaster. But the point is, it's just a bunch of steps in tandem. If I could make a sandwich by thesis, I could make $1 million business. And, well, hey, I've proven it now, but I wish I saw that perspective then, because all the stress and headache that I had to go through, the excess stress and headache, that's what I'm talking about, would not have been necessary.
Nice.
But yeah, how do you tell a person do that versus, I need this context, because I could just go, well, how do you do it? Spend 2 hours working, take an hour break. But in that hour break, I know your mind's going to go, fuck, am I doing it right? Is this working? And that's the point. The whole idea of relaxation isn't about stressing about what comes from it. It's just coming to the conclusion, wait, I already made a fucking toasty once. I can make 1 billion toasties, or if anything, a business is just a matter of the right activities. If my mind is centered to, this is fun, it'll work out, then when you reach out to someone and they respond, your mind's not going to go, what if they say no? You're like, oh, hell yeah, this is an opportunity. And before you realize that you have a client. But yeah, you'll have to experience it, guys.
Yeah, good luck.
Turning it to you, though, Fred. Yeah, go make a toast. Turn to you, Fred, though. How's your days look like?
Very simple, very similar to yours. Also, maker and manager days, 3 days with calls, 2 without, and then weekends are just for whatever I want to do. Nice. Typically, that has something to do with work as well, but I just kind of like go about how I feel. I also go to bed and wake up same time. I'm used to being 2 hours.
You don't do overnights or do random sleep late type of shit. Good. That's
I don't
healthy.
like that. I don't like that because it fucks me up, and it's not to be boring or anything, but it's just like it's just so locked in at this point that I'm so tired at 9 p.m. for example. So I go to bed at 9 p.m. Yeah, that's just how it is. I've lived in Dubai for a few years, right? So I'm used to being 2 hours ahead, time-wise, with most of my clients who are in Europe.
So you sleep late, relatively?
Yes, no. In Dubai, I woke up at 7, but I realized that like when I woke up, it was 5 a.m. in Europe, and then I had like 4 hours before most people started to clock in and work, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm currently transitioning myself to wake up at 5 here. So like the last week, it's just been like 5:30, 5:40, and then I'm like slowly just like transitioning into 5, so that I can still have the mornings where I just like get a lot of work done with no notifications and no nothing.
Nice.
Yeah, that's peaceful for me, and it's important for me to have a good day. Yeah, and then
comes down to the deep work thesis, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you gotta have zones of geniuses where you can get stuff done. Yeah. Where you're not stressed about.
Because if you're constantly getting a notification from Vince saying "Yo, Fred, yo, Fred, yo, Fred," your mind's going yo-yo mode.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter if you answer your clients at 5:30 or at 7:30.
Yeah.
As long as they just get an answer in the morning, so that they know what to execute on through the day, then they're good.
Same thing.
Yeah, and then I usually go for a walk. Like around 9 or 10, it depends on how exhausted I kind of am. It can also be a little bit earlier. And then I get some breakfast, and then usually my cold start.
So you have breakfast way later then?
Yeah, I don't. I fast.
Really?
Kinda. Yeah. So like I would probably get breakfast around now. Like 10. Yeah.
Okay, fair.
So I just electrolytes and black coffee.
Do you feel like that helps for focus if you do that?
Yeah, definitely.
I've never tried that.
Yeah. I'll do it, bro. It's like I like it a lot. I've done it a lot. So fasted work.
Weird feeling that I'll get hungry, but I think that's just how your body's used to, right? Like at the start.
Yeah, it's like, and like when you're hungry, you just put food in your mouth. But then, like now, you kind of like it helps, right? Because it basically what hunger is that it puts your body in like a state of survival, and that's like true. You get more focused and locked in, and then like you combine it with some caffeine, and that's a pretty good combo.
Electrolytes.
Yeah, exactly.
And water.
Yeah, that's important. So like, go for a walk, then eat, then usually cold start, either 10 or 11 usually. This is also an outlier with a pod at 9, but it's fine. So like, 10 or 11, cold start, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then usually I have 5 or 6 hours of colds.
Nice.
And then I always go gym at like 4 p.m.
Yeah, on your call days, you also, after calls, you don't really have space to do any leverage activities, do you?
No, bro. I'm so fucking cooked that I just... Yeah. The only thing that I maybe want to change about my schedule is like move my calls a little bit. So like they maybe start at 12 and then
a little bit later so you have more time, right? Oh, you want to gym in the morning?
Yeah, so I can gym in the morning.
I was thinking about that too, because here, dude, on Mondays, the gym is a mess of a sweat pool with stinky people, and it's just no machines available. I don't know about where you're from, but it's just...
Yeah, but it's the same here, right? When you work out at the same time as all the people who just got off work, then like it's fucking stupid when you're self-employed that you can manage your own schedule. But it's also because I work out with a few friends here in my home.
But I also like training. Technically, I really like training after work because then it's a transition between activities. That's how I perceive it in my mind. But it's also nice.
That's why I want to do it in the middle of the day, because it's like transition from
kind of like that.
And then go hit the sweat and fucking like do something else, and then like prepare for calls, kind of.
It's also a good one.
Yeah, but I'll see. I'm still getting used to the schedule here.
What's the biggest difference, though? Oh, sorry, you were saying. No, go ahead.
No. Like the biggest difference here is just that I have a lot more family and friends around, so there is usually more dinner appointments,
which is also
people swinging by. Or
that's an interesting one, because it's not actually spoken about a lot, I feel like, but that's I guess you could say responsibility. But the thing is, especially if you're running a business where hypothetically you're used to working, like let's reframe it, you're used to spending time alone for like on an average day, maybe 10 hours of active mind work.
Yeah.
Then now when you're going to dinners, that time where you would usually eat by yourself, even though it's still eating, your mind isn't centered on anything else. That actually doesn't create a constraint, but it does actually change your entire routine because you're giving energy away, which then also takes energy from you. How do you experience that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like spending time with family and friends shouldn't be draining, but it does cost you energy.
I don't mean it like that,
right?
But it does cost energy.
Yeah, it is just like it's like Dubai, running a business in Dubai is fucking business on easy mode, because it's just you locked in an apartment. You have no responsibilities, no people, no nothing. So, but I also want to have a life where I have energy to be with my family, you know. So, but it is something that you have to consider, adapt. Right? Because usually I would normally not work after 7, 6, depending on when I have dinner. So like usually like I would just chill for the rest of the day. And
that gives you freedom and you're relaxed. But then when you're now going to family, sometimes fun things happen. Maybe conversations get heated. I don't know, life.
Yeah. So it's I want to have like I only want to do like a few a week, so like 2 or 3 times at max, because else I'm just fucking cooked. Like this week, for example, I have like 7 family things. It's like 1 every day, you know. And
yeah, it's kind of that same
I love my
example.
family to death, but like fuck off, give me some space alone too, you know. Also because I spend like maybe 20 hours a week on calls or communicating with clients or teams.
It's intense.
And that's a lot of people contact, right? And then also all other hours you're trying to kind of like use the brain power you have to create something excellent. And then, relaxing is very underrated. That's what allows you to get good shit done in the periods that you sit down and work.
At the same time, it's also really awesome that you do have the ability to spend time with your family, because it's kind of, it's I don't know. It's seen as, oh, here we go again. But it is kind of portrayed as if the only time you spend time with your family on the internet is to buy them a gift. That's it. Like, oh, I bought my family a gift, great. But then, I don't know, like how I've always perceived the internet is it's like you're either masculine building a business, but when you're with your family, you're just a kid. Or someone's kid, or someone's maybe uncle in the future, or someone's niece, or, you know, you're just you there. There's no pressure, there's no stress, because, well, I don't know about your family, but my family doesn't give a shit about the numbers I pull. They're just like, you good, bro?
No, bro?
Are you being human?
Shit,
did you do something weird?
Yeah. I've given my family a lot of shit until I still do, but then they were just like, yeah, that's cool, but like, when the fuck are you coming home? And spending time with us. Like, we couldn't care about...
Why don't you call me?
this thing or that thing or blah, blah, blah. It's just like, just come home and spend time with us. I give it like, fucking hell. I couldn't care less if I pull in 500k or 5k. It's just whatever makes Fred happy, he should do.
Yeah, and it's always seemed like, oh yeah, I gotta isolate myself to build. And I think the real challenge of business is, how do you manage to create a vehicle that evolves while you also have responsibilities around you? For example, when you have a kid, a kid's going to be a whole new part of life. You're going to have a child, a human being that is crazy. Disoriented, has no idea where they are. They're confused. They have emotions. They're trying to figure it out just like we are. And now you're taking care of them. And it's not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. However, I think where a lot of people then make that mistake is it's like they don't see it that way. And then it causes conflict, a resentment. You start, you know, creating unhappiness and all these things. It's a fascinating conversation.
Yeah, it is. And I think a lot of it comes from that a lot of people who are in info are there for the cash grab.
Cash, not really.
Which
longevity.
Means that inside of their head, right, it's like, I need as much output as possible in the smallest time frame ever. So it's like they try to cram in all of their growth and scale in like 2 or 3 years. Whereas I'm like, I'm fine with reaching my goals. It takes me 8 to 10 years. And I want to just enjoy the process along the way, instead of shitting myself for 3 years and then reaching it and then being miserable. So it's
realizing shitting yourself isn't as sexy as it may have felt.
Nope. There's a lot of peace in knowing that you're in the right place for the next many years to come. That it's like very nice for me to know that I like my work. So it's like, why shouldn't I? I'll just keep doing it.
For sure. But yeah, back to your day, because I know you were mentioning that was kind of like the average. Anything else there that you hadn't mentioned, because we kind of sidetracked for a second?
No, not really. Just I do a lot of walks. I like to have work blocks where it's creative, call days, which is like managing days, and then maker days where you record or do program, and like where you don't have to worry about a call or a deadline. Yeah. And that's just how you should spend your week, in my opinion. Batch your calls. You don't get anything done between calls. You might as well just batch them.
Just accept that. That was something I had to learn. It's like,
hell, this is just
I got to cram in half an hour of scripting a video, and you're like in between like focus mode. Yeah, it ain't like that. One question I have for you though is, like, I know you journal a lot.
Yeah,
how do you approach your journaling? I think that's something a lot of people could learn from. How do you approach journaling, and when do you do it? How do you structure it? Do you have a routine with it, or is it just random? Quite curious.
Yeah, it's pretty random actually. Like I started out like everyone else with like journaling prompts and like stuff like that to get used to writing, but now I just write. I think I've realized that I'm not good at forcing creativity and forcing written stuff. It comes in like splurges, where it's like I get an idea and then I need to execute on it, or write it down, or it can be when I'm on a walk, it can be when I'm sitting, it can be very random. So like I watched Dan Koh's video on his like content flow, where how he can like he writes 2 hours of his newsletter every day in the same block, and I wish I could do that, but it's my creativity comes in like periods, you know.
Yeah, I have found though that this is where like, and this is the thesis that I was sharing earlier, I have found that frequency, or to be a bit more blunt about it, mental state control is the gateway to that. There's two types of creativity I find. There's creativity where your mind is just wandering and trying to come to conclusions, not in work related, but I'm talking about maybe you had a great win today that you haven't celebrated yet. Maybe something happened that maybe put a bit of stress on you, or you weren't happy with it. Like that's quote unquote creativity moments where your mind has to kind of like not cope, but understand the situations and see them for what they are. Because when you're busy, it's super busy and you can't really navigate it. That type of time is random for me, I noticed. Like I can't just say, all right, 1 p.m. today, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to grieve, or I'm going to deal with my emotions. That comes in waves. But I have found that, for example, if it's projected creativity, this is how my mind works. Very Taurus-like. This is going all woo-woo now, but very stubborn, structure-based people. It's what I found is if I'm able to enter a certain state of mind using the techniques I also shared it with you. It's going to be a long one if I share it here. We'll talk about it in another episode. But if you use a certain technique to enter a certain state of mind, then I have found that it is way easier to channel. But there's precedence. If I know I have a call in 30 minutes, it's doomed.
Ain't
right?
Gone work.
Yeah. But do you also journal, like, I know you talk about, you write a lot, but do you journal specifically to come to conclusions? Do you have those kinds of different ways of journaling? I'm quite curious.
Yeah, I have like a business where it's like I try to articulate my thoughts within business, and then I just do the basic shit with like being grateful and write that down. Yeah. Or pray. Yeah. Either one of those.
And this is really interesting, right? Because even so, journaling is your vehicle to relaxation.
Probably.
Do you get what I mean? It's the way that you relax, and a lot of and you might have framed it as journaling, but that's what I meant by relax, guys. Because like, if Fred didn't take half the time journaling, or even if he didn't spend any time journaling, this dude's thoughts would have been cooked. I can guarantee it.
Yeah,
because
100%.
How do you come to conclusions? So yeah, good stuff. I think it's a very healthy practice. One last one.
Hopefully people can learn something.
One last one before we end up. How do you approach then? This is, I think, a curious take. How do you approach then planning in for leverage activities? This is a good one, I think. Like aside from maker days and like, manager days, how do you plan for leverage? Because I think that's the core problem that we're always trying to solve.
Rules for your business.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so like setting rules. I can only have calls 3 days a week. That kind of like limits me in terms of my pricing and who I work with and how I spend my calls, whether it's one-on-one or sales calls. That's why I don't do sales calls. I only want to talk to people who paid me. So rules are really good. And then like also like just like looking ahead, knowing, setting deadlines for when products should be finished, a YouTube series, whatever it is, right? So like gearing kind of like mapping out your business first with long-term things and then second short-term.
Sprints. Yeah, no, well said. I think this is kind of where we enter where I enter the inevitable. And this is why it's hard to explain, because it's so personal.
Yeah,
it's like you can try Alex Hormozy's perfect routine, or you can try the dude who's
just try it all.
Yeah, try and see what works for you and figure it out. Because the truth is, what will work for me will not work for Fred. What will work for Fred will not work for me. But the reason it doesn't work isn't because we're leveraging the same mechanisms here. If you really think about it, it's just the way 100%. It looks like and is perceived by is different. So yeah, good stuff. Good. Very
nice. Good shizzle. Cool. I hope people enjoyed. If you did enjoy, leave a like. Psych.
Sub is the one. That's what we're going for. But now, cool to see you guys as always. Next episode next week. Well, I believe we'll be able to put this up on time this Sunday, but don't get me quoted on it. It'll be a few hours after because it's already Friday.
It's Friday, yay.
Awesome, man. See you soon and enjoy, guys.
Enjoy.
See you next one. Cheers.